everybody who wrote in that it's out of print.
Now,
They denied to me.
When did you realize there was a pirate edition? How did you find out?
I found out when somebody got a plain envelope with a slip of paper in it, available again, in short supply, Tragedy and Hope.
The whole book?
The whole book. And
they came to you and said,
and no, they called me up and said, did you know that your book is reprinted? I said, which book? Because they both had a print, see. And they said, Tragedy and Hope. I said, no, it isn't.
You don't know who this person was?
No, because it's exact copy. Exact. The dust jacket, everything, the binding is the same.
Did they reset the type, or is it just
photo reproduction? It's exactly the same.
Right.
Now, I can tell instantly that it's different because they didn't notice that the original had yellow top on the pages. Here.
Oh, right.
You see, the original.
Right.
The new one is white.
So you, I would imagine, would call Macmillan and say, hey, you must be upset that they're reprinting this. I mean, that would be a logical reaction.
They didn't give a damn, and I'll tell you why.
But did you call? Now, how much is, well, we'll talk when we're done with it, and I'll ask you how much of this you're comfortable with in light of your lawsuit, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
I don't
So we can
know.
talk about that.
And I don't know why McMillan acted like this. Now, immediately...
But my logical reaction would be to call Macmillan and say, gee, you must really be upset.
No, I didn't. Not right away, I didn't, because they had lied to me so many times and so many
You
years.
already knew it was unfortunate.
There's something funny. They had lied to me, you see, on everything. And I have letters to prove that, because I have from written letters apologizing for information he previously given to him, because they had lied to him when he called up to ask if they wrote a print or not, you see, and they said no, and so forth. Now, the big thing is, my contract both had in it that if it went out of print, I had the right to recover the plates.
Right.
They never got in touch with me for the plates. I learned in March of this year that they destroyed the plates of Tragedy and Hope. I learned in the summer 1971 because my wife got mad and called Macmillan on the phone every week while I was in England, and finally got from them a letter in which they said the plates had been destroyed. They had inadvertently destroyed the plates of the first book, Evolution of Civilizations, you see?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you find, so a guy calls you, an anonymous caller.
Yeah, well, he identified himself to me, but he's no. And he gave me his name and so forth, and he had got this. And you want to shut that off for a second? And the way I found out was I sent an order. I let somebody else send an order. Now, this was my assistant who sent a check, sent an order. And nothing came. And then we discovered they'd only pay if you sent them cash ahead of time. You see.
A check wouldn't do?
Well, I guess I did send a check.
But not the whole thing?
No, I sent the check, the whole thing. But they, for example, will not send to bookstores unless they send cash. And they're all suspicious. Because if you order 10 copies, and that would be $120, because he was asking 12, you could vanish because there's no way to find out who it is.
Sure.
You have no name, you have a box number in California, and so forth. And anyway, I couldn't find out anything. I got it back, and I was shocked because it was identical, you see, or almost identical. So then I got other companies were offering it.
When is this now?
This was in this year.
This year?
Yes, January.
January this year?
1974.
Okay.
This year. By March, somebody came to me and had one of the pirate copies. I said, where'd you get it? And they said, Sidney Kramer. I said, does he have it? And he said, sure, he has 4 or 5 of them there. So I called up Sidney Kramer and asked if he had it, and he said yes, and I went down there, and he's very hard to get information out of, but finally I found out that he sent an order in, and they send me a check, and I'll send it, you see? Mm-hmm. And he sold them and repeated the order, and so forth. So then I told our bookstore.
He's using the same address you have?
Yes, he was using.
You still don't know who it is? And I mean, at that time you did not know who it is?
I still am not certain.
Really?
Who it is. And I will now, and I'll tell you why. One of the places that was offering them for sale, and there was about 5 places that were offering it for sale, and I've got since a number of others that they come to me from students, or they don't write to me directly ever. Now, no one ever approached me. Well, one reason I was suspicious of Macmillan was this. The first the fact that the radical right, the John Birch Society and so forth, was getting all up over this book goes back to at least 69.
I was going to ask you about that.
69. Yes, and a book appeared called The Naked Capitalist by Skousens. Now, of that book, about a fifth of it is direct quote from my book. Now, he says it's from my book, it's in quotation marks, but nevertheless it's a violation of copyright. I got in touch with Macmillan, they would not do a thing. They said, I said, aren't you going to defend my copyright? They said, no, if you want to do something, we will support you and, and be a witness if you want and so forth. Well, I wasn't going to sue this guy. He's a professor of religion at Brigham Young University, former police chief of Salt Lake City, you know all about it. Yeah, all right.
He's run the gamut.
So whether he has, and he's been in the FBI for years.
Right.
So whether he would have any money, it wouldn't be worth my while to sue him, do you see, probably. And another state and so forth. So I decided I'd let that go, but then I discovered they wouldn't do anything. And then Congressman Rarick, who was beaten in the primary just now, put that book into
Congressional record.
Into the Congressional Record, and a lot of things like this. Then this book was distributed to every registered voter in New Hampshire.
At no point they never called you and said, and after a quote. I mean,
no, nobody ever.
It'd be like me writing a story without ever talking to you.
Yeah, nobody ever wrote to me about this.
You know where they got the picture of you from the PR office here?
I think. Let me see which picture it is.
Up front there.
They tried to get pictures from the PR office, and I said, don't give anybody a picture if they won't tell you why. Oh, they got this from the PR office. Now, Skousens couldn't get a picture of me. You see, they could have got a picture off the back of the, there's a full picture of me, on the back of the jacket of the first book, from Backrack, here in town. But, you know, that's the one they have in the Public Relations office here now, still. It's the only one there is, and that's where they got that. Well, it's all right, but then they put it on the same page with J.P. Morgan, you know, this is nonsense to me. I mean, you're right to laugh. It's a joke, but it's also silly, linking me with Morgan or with any of these people. But then they're full of statements. Anyway, Rarick and other people filled the Congressional Record with this. Then the John Birch Society started talking about it in their various publications. And then, of course, this guy is a John Birch employee. Right. And he published, even before this, did he, the book Nixon, the Man Behind the Mask. Yeah, that's in 69. Now, I knew nothing about that until 2 weeks ago.
Really?
Nixon, the Man Behind the Mask. When one of the priests here met me and said, I've been looking for you. I said, well, look, it's free. Go right and look all you want. He says, no, I want to ask you about this Gary Allen who wrote a book about Nixon. And I said, well, I know Gary Allen. I didn't know he wrote a book about Nixon, so I don't keep up with this stuff. And he said, well, I have it, and the whole third chapter's about you and your book, Tragedy and Hope. I said, really? So he let me have it, and I read it, and it was. And now there's others that are...
You don't know Gary Allen personally?
No. Now, here's what happened. A crisis occurred at Brigham Young, and I should not go into it in detail because I don't know anything for sure.
Yeah, I know something is...
All right, they had a hell of a... The campus was blown apart by a fight between the political science department and Skousens, in which they declared he was unworthy to be a Mormon professor and should be fired.
Right.
And he defended himself, and what happened I do not know. All I know is this.
He lost it.
Who?
He lost it.
Oh, did he?
He got ousted.
Oh, I didn't know that. You see, I never find out. Nobody ever tells me these things.
I'll check. Former Chief Police Officer Quaitler, Augusta Raleigh.
He did get rid of him, huh?
He did. I think he lost that fight in the University option. I never would have.
Well, anyway, all I know about it is this. I gave 3 papers at the American Association for the Advancement of Science. I'm going to give you one of them. Okay. And because they liked it so much, they printed thousands of them, or, processed thousands of them and distributed them to all the press in the press room.
Right.
They liked this one, so it wasn't the best of them. General Crises and Civilization, which this is an attractive title. Now, somebody called me up and wanted to talk to me at this.